Blueprint. This is a special episode. I have talked to a lot of people over the last 2 years about owning an Airbnb or a short-term rental. So if you're that person, you're going to want to stay tuned and listen to the rest of this episode because I have some stories and some ways to be successful with this. This is Beyond the Blueprint. So really hot during COVID was people buying short-term rentals. And for a lot of you out there that don't know, short-term rentals are Airbnb, VRBO, seasonal, and not long-term, where you have a tenant for 12 months. So I'm going to go back in time a little bit here and kind of tell a story. Make it a little bit more relaxed here. So during COVID, in my industry, we were extremely busy. So, money was coming in, and I was trying to find a way financially to use that money in the right way without just having it sit in a bank account. So did some things with investments. I have a great person with Wells Fargo who's my financial advisor. And Melissa and I were just brainstorming the idea of just having another place and making it our own, but also sharing with other people. So if you don't know, we have a cabin in Blue Ridge, Georgia. So Blue Ridge, Georgia is about 100 miles north of Atlanta, right on the border of Tennessee and North Carolina. Very beautiful place. Mountains, fishing, boating, all the things are up there. And, we were trying to find the perfect home, but we didn't know where to start. We actually started in, I think, South Georgia and Gainesville, Georgia, and then we went all the way to South Carolina, all over the place. So my good friend, won't say his name, but he has a cabin up there. And before he went live on Airbnb, he invited us to be his first guest at his house. And let me tell you this. I'm from New England. I'm used to, hills and learning how to drive up a hill, with a standard standard transmission and learning all those things. But when you live in Florida, everything is super flat until you get to super North Florida. All right, super flat. So everything here, if you're not from Florida, is straight left or right. So north, south, east, or west, a couple turns on the highway here or there, probably accidental. And I remember going up there and I was kind of like freaking out because, the drive is beautiful, by the way, after you get past Atlanta and you take the Appalachian Highway up and, you start going up these hills, your ears are popping. And I remember when we were driving, we just saw the view of the mountains and I was like, wow. All right, we're still about 45 minutes away, but I was like, wow, this is cool. So we got up to the cabin and I remember going there and I was just like, wow, this is freaking awesome. Now I know why all these people go up there because of how beautiful it is. So we had a great realtor, went out and looked at some houses. Actually, we looked at like 12 of them. And we finally found the one, which is called Pinecone Peaks. That is our cabin. It is on Airbnb. The plug is Pinecone Peaks. I'll leave a link for it. So we bought a cabin. And I remember when we were going around different ones, we got to this one. So a little story. Our realtor, all the realtors up there, they've been, they live there in the mountains. And I remember driving up this, gravel road to the top of the mountain where the cabin was. And it was pouring rain. Our realtor was one-handed, like texting. I was like, oh my God, holding on for my life in the back seat. And even Melissa, she was like, oh my God. It's not that bad, by the way. It's just when you're not used to it, it's like, whoa. And we walked up to the cabin and the view just takes your breath away. It takes your breath away. So we went inside, the house was furnished, and the whole deck. I was just outside just taking video. I was like, this is amazing. Clouds, kind of in the valley and then the peaks up here. So our cabin's at 2,400 feet elevation. The bottom of the mountain's at, I think 900, so 1,000. So it's a little bit of a grade up, but man, it took our breath away. So we put in an offer. At the time, it was $940,000. Appraised for like 1.1 at the time. It's still maintaining it. It was a big purchase, but we have a lot of options where, if you do it as a second home, you only have to put 10% down. And I was really scared, and Melissa was all pumped up, and she had a bring me into it, right? Because I was like, I don't know, it's far away. I don't know if I want to do it. And I hear these stories a lot from other people that I talk to, you know, because I do mortgages, obviously. And it's always either both are on board, one's not on board, or both of them are kind of not on board at all. And I tell these stories all the time of, you know, how you got to do it. So you got to create a business, right? So we closed on, I believe it was the end of June, early July, before the 4th of July. Not this past summer, the summer before. So that'd be 2022. And we were pumped up. We were so excited. And we had our family up there, and that's our annual vacation, summer vacation. So we've gone through 2 of them now. And we really had to kind of create our own business around it and figure out, like, okay, how do you do Airbnb? How do you do VRBO? How do you do direct booking? And I want to tell you right now that there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of great resources. I'm going to tip my hat off to Chris Susi. Got us with really good people on how to set up a website, and we use a program called OwnerRez. And what that does is that actually helps so you don't have overlapping bookings, okay? So yes, we closed on the house, and I'm going to talk a little bit now about how do you set up an Airbnb. So I'm going to tell you the first and most important thing is that you have to have an excellent cleaning team. Excellent cleaning team, because our first cleaning team totally sucked. And then you're dealing with people checking in and having issues or whatever it might be. Luckily, who used to clean the cabin before us, they are freaking amazing. We switched over, I don't know, I would say 6 months ago, maybe no longer than that, probably a year ago. And oh my God, the reviews are stellar. People are like, this is the cleanest cabin we've ever been in the last 20 years making trips up here. And let me tell you, it makes a huge difference of who you have clean your short-term rental, or your Airbnb, we'll call it. So number 1, you got to find the right people. Number 2, I would never use a property management company. All I hear is nightmares. If you go on Airbnb or Facebook and just type in Airbnb groups, VRBO groups, you're going to hear the craziest crap. And not only that, but they take like 30% of your money. So think about that, 30% of your money. And half the time you just have randos going in and out of your house, and then blah, blah, blah. So number 2, you got to have a solid foundation when it comes to cleaning and maintenance. Okay. So the other piece is the maintenance part. So you got to have somebody that if light bulbs go out, or if the stove doesn't work, or the refrigerator breaks, or whatever it might be. Yeah, a property management company can do it, but again, nightmares. Okay. So once you have those 2 things set up and in place, you're ready for the next step, which is putting it on Airbnb or VRBO. So there's a really cool website I use called OwnerRez. It has templates, security deposits, renter agreements. It talks to all the APIs. So if you're on a house fee, Airbnb, VRBO, direct booking, you never have an overlap in booking. But then you can put up all your rules in there. And then I have automatic templates. So, you know, it sends out emails and text messages and through the platforms where I don't have to do anything. It's all trigger based. And once you have that set up and you get your professional photos done, then you could create your direct booking website. Once you have all that, you're ready to go live. And that's where it gets a little crazy the first times, because you got all through all those points to do it. So with that being said, is that there are really great people out there that can help you. I could help you. My wife Melissa could help you. We could all help you get there. And it does take some time. But let me tell you, if you buy in the right place and you get the right situation, it is awesome. So obviously with interest rates being high like they are, you know, it's kind of tough to make a ton of money. But if you break even on a house, that's another asset that you have. And that's a whole other episode, is that your cash is worth crap at the end of the day. You need to have assets. You need to have houses, silver, gold, assets, because cash is just made up dollars that are thrown around that we don't have as a country. So I want you to think about that. If you're sitting on money, this is a big opportunity for you, because people are tired of hotels. I hate hotels. Every time we go to a hotel, I'm like, F this hotel. It's either dirty, smells weird, the TVs are from like the 70s, and yeah, free breakfast. I don't eat breakfast, so irrelevant. But anyways, so if you're thinking about getting to the short-term rental game, Let me tell you, I talk to a lot of people, and most of my mortgages that I do, I wouldn't say most, but I would say probably more than 25% of them are for short-term rentals and Airbnbs. So the other pieces you could look at is how we did it was we have a ton of equity in our home here in Naples, Florida. So what we did was we did what they call a home equity line of credit. So if you have a home that you own and there's a lot of equity in there, I would grab that equity. All right. I would not do a cash out refi. I would grab the equity and leverage that. That's your down payment. Okay. And I could do those as well. Some of them we could close within 5 days. It doesn't take long at all, as long as you're approved. And then you have that money for a set amount of years. So usually it's about 5 years. And you could pick your terms if you want to do a 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, 30-year. So going back to that is that if you have equity in your house, it's a good idea to reinvest. And a lot of the successful people I talk to, they have like 10, 15 of these. And obviously it takes a while to scale up on these, but it's there. So once you're ready to go live, that's it. It's fun. Like, we love being hosts, and through time, like, we get pictures sent of the family, outstanding reviews. We're super hosts with 45 5-star reviews on Airbnb. Plus we have our direct booking, which is probably another 20. But at the end of the day is that you can make good money on it, but you also have a place to go and a second home. So obviously for us, we live in Naples, Florida. It's kind of crazy here. So for us, it's a good place to go and just get away and relax. And we share our cabin too. So we have a lot of friends and family that book it. And man, it's like you get depression when you go back to your house, depending where it is. So I wanted to open it up there. I want to tell a crazy story. The other piece is make sure whoever you have do work for you is licensed and insured. And I tell this story a lot. So when we moved in, we had some work that we had to get done. So we wanted to stay in the cabin. It's very, very important. Everything's wood. And it also helps with like the carpenter bees, which are these massive beetle-looking bees that just burrow perfect circles into the wood. So we got the cabin stained, and we also wanted the trees not trees cut down, but trimmed. And some of them cut down because they were just old and dead and blocking the beautiful view of the sunset over the mountain ranges. So we did hire somebody who was licensed and insured, thankfully. However, they didn't pull a survey and they cut down trees. We got sued for $200,000 because of trees. So I want to just put it out there. And you want to talk about getting scared and freaking out. That was us. I mean, it was not good. But anyways, everything settled and it was fine because we didn't do it. But you got to make sure any work that you do, make sure you got surveys, you got insurance, and that's a good thing. If you're looking in Georgia, I got a great guy. His name's Rudy. He's amazing. We just closed 2 Airbnbs in the last month up there, and not only are his policies great, but I'll tell you what, during this situation with Tower Hill, they are fucking awesome. They helped us out, and obviously we don't have to pay anything out of pocket, but you gotta make sure you have good coverage too, because shit happens. And I always tell that story, not to scare people, but I mean, that was the scariest thing that's probably happened in my life. And I remember it was long nights, Melissa and I, just freaking out. But, it all got squared away, and that was over a year ago. But at the end of the day is you have to make sure you have the right people in place. If you're just going to buy a property and, take yogurt and throw it at a ceiling fan and hope it sticks, it's not going to stick. So you got to do the right things. You got to get with the right people to make sure you have everything in place. But let me tell you, it is so satisfying and rewarding to be able to have a second home or a short-term rental property. You meet great people along the way. And even for me, is I have a lot of realtors that go up there that they book through Airbnb. Next thing you know, we're for friends and we're doing deals. Like, it's almost like, it's not almost, it is a business at the end of the day, but it's very, very rewarding. So the message out here today is, should you buy an Airbnb or short-term rental? My answer to that question is absolutely. Absolutely. Don't be on the sidelines. Don't worry about the interest rates. If we can make it work. And one thing that I do, because I got 3 of them to look at in about a half hour, is I will help you figure out if it's going to work or not too. Okay, between the rates and et cetera. We do these with no income docs as well. So if you're self-employed and you don't show that much income, but you own a home, or you have too much debt and you can't qualify with your W-2s and pay stubs. So we could do these, what they call DSCR. So we take the short-term rental data and your payment, as long as your payment is less than what the income is on the property, you qualify. The rates are not much higher. It's a lot easier to do. You can actually close it in an LLC. So we have an LLC for ours. So a lot of great options out there, but I don't want you to be scared to do it because of interest rates, because you know what, they may never come down. And if they do, you could always refinance. So that's a huge piece there. So if you have any questions about Airbnb and VRBO, or want to hear some crazy stories, we have a few, but we tighten that up because we have a renter agreement and a security deposit at our place. So it weeds out a lot of the bad people. Shame on you bad people out there. I see all your posts in those groups, leaving places trashed. Not acceptable at our place. But anyways, Pinecone Peaks, you can actually visit our website. So it's www.pineconepeaks.com. You can direct book. I'm going to make a special code. So if you type in the code Beyond the Blueprint, we will get you 10% off through the end of the year. So you could pick a time next year, use the code Beyond the Blueprint, and we'll get you 10% off direct booking. So that is www.pineconepeaks.com. Or reach out to Melissa and I, and we love to chat with you and get it all set up. And we have some friends going up there next week. I have a friend up there right now. We had a friend that just left. And a lot of our bookings are all direct bookings, so it's all word of mouth. And if you want to check it out, also go on my Facebook or Melissa's Facebook. We have a lot of great photos and pictures. You could also find us on Facebook at Pinecone Peaks, the Sunset Cabin. If you have any questions out there, I would love to answer them. I'd love to help you. I know a lot of great people up in the Blue Ridge area, which is Fannin County, North Georgia, but also in Florida. Again, this is Beyond the Blueprint. I want you to start thinking outside the box. We're going to get a little bit into financial freedom and stuff like that. So this is one piece of it in a segue. My name is Matt. I'll see you on the next episode.